day we return to basics. Once in the morning, once at night, we say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Every day we have to point our navigational compass to its proper place so that that puts everything else in perspective. And likewise, every so often, I feel we have to review Rabbi Nachman's holy teaching about song, Azamara Lelokai Be'odi. I'd like to tell a little story. We were talking today about how this Torah came into the world, and it was said when Rabbi Nachman was very ill, he was living in Breslov, but he felt he had to go for healing or for mission, some mission that he alone knew, went across hundreds of miles across Europe in the days of travel by carriage, and he had to go to Lemberg, the city of Lvov, far away from Breslov, and he was going to go alone with just one attendant. And when he left Breslov, which was right after Shmini Atzeres, Simchas Torah of the year 1807, his Hasidim went with him for the first leg of the journey. The first day, they stopped in a little village where they slept overnight, and the following morning the Rebbe went off to Lemberg in the carriage, and after that the Hasidim returned home. So there is a tradition among the Breslov Hasidim that it was the night before this, while the Rebbe was in the midst of giving over the Torah that I'm about to tell you, that the following conversation came about in front of the Rebbe. The night before he was about to go off, while they were sitting in the tavern in this little village. So a certain Gemara came up, it's well known to everybody, Ein Moshiach ben David bo elo behesech hadas. Moshiach will only ever come when nobody's really paying attention. Moshiach comes only when nobody is noticing. So Reb Nachman had his outstanding student, Reb Nachman of Breslov, who was always a very inquiring, sharp mind, and says, well, this Gemara would indicate that Moshiach could be here, and we simply don't know. And at that point, Reb Nachman is said to have said the words Kegoin Anoch, like me. Wow. The same tradition is brought down by Rav Eliezer Schick in his book Figurat HaTzadik, which is a biography of Reb Nachman. And we know that the Rebbe made this statement, Kegoin Ano, like me. If you think this is too much, there's a similar statement from the followers of the Arizal, the Ari, who was 200 years earlier than Rabbi Nachman, in Tzfat, the outstanding all-time Kabbalist. He promised his students that they would see the Mashiach. And after the Ari left the world, the students came complaining to Rabbi Chaim Vital and saying, he told us we're going to see Mashiach. And what happened? So Rabbi Chaim Vital said to them, you did. You did.
Wow.
It's exactly like with Reb Shlomo. I mean, there's more people davening here on Shabbos today than often came to this shul years ago when Reb Shlomo was here. And now the real greatness of Reb Shlomo, his real music. You know, there was a time when you come into a shul and Reb Shlomo was singing. He was doing Kabbalah Shabbos, and he said, "Oh, a nice chazan, beautiful." But now everybody knows the real greatness of what Reb Shlomo did for the whole Jewish world. That he brought he rekindled the music of Shabbos, and Moshiach was in front of our eyes, and there it was all the Hesach Hadash. We didn't even notice it, and now we have to draw this power of Moshiach, this power of song, and the power of all the Rebbes into our lives. So I mentioned the story about Reb Nachman, that he said that he had this messianic spark because he said it precisely at the time that he was teaching this Torah of, I will sing to God with all my strength. Azamra Lelokai Be'odi. And it's a very interesting question. What does really the word Be'odi mean? Azamra, we know, it means I will sing. And I'm singing for Hashem, I'm praying, but what really does the Be'odi? It's a very unusual expression in Hebrew, normally the word od means something that is still more, still yet. It expresses some reservation. I want to tell you od mashu, something more. I didn't yet tell you. There's something still remaining. But Nachman says that the way we sing to Hashem is precisely what still remains in us. We may think that we are dark, that we are full of all kinds of objectionable things. We may think that we are weak. We may think we are unsuccessful. We think we are ugly. We are unintelligent, and we may be full of mistakes and full of tension. And why do we get like this and why do we get like that? And he's saying, okay, that may well be, but od mashu, there's still something, mashu od there that you haven't yet perceived because you're so caught up in looking at this negativity and complaining and crying and feeling sorry for yourself. He says, yesh od mashu, there's still something more that is still there. And this good point that you have to, at that moment, there are lots of good points, but every moment there's one particular good point that is craving and screaming to be revealed, and that's what you have to look for at that moment. And when you will find that odd, that little extra, that is the redeeming feature that's gonna save everything. Yes, like we were talking about last night, you're in the wrong place, and why are you there? And that's not fair, and it's lo magia li, it's not fair to me. But if you will look and examine, you will find this redeeming point that flips everything around. And it's with precisely this point that you've made the noise into music. Out of the noise and the grinding of depression and sadness and bad vibes and bad spirits, when you can really discover this point. Today I put on tefillin, and this completely shut all the shamayim, and it caused all the angels to be trembling, even though I wasn't thinking when I put them on, and even though I just mumbled my prayers and got them off as soon as I could. I had the tefillin on. There's a story the Baal Shem Tov said, you see a Jewish guy in the market, and he's running all day in the market, and he looks at his watch, and he says, noch shkia, noch a bit b'shkia, noch spät. I go to daven, and he goes into a little alleyway, and he stands there, and he's chuckling for 1 minute and no more, and finishing his mincha. The Baal Shem Tov, that mincha is mamish shaking all the heavens. How much more so if you were able to put a bit of kabbalah into it, if you able to say a few good thoughts. That is the power of these things. You know from your computer that even though you do not understand the computer, you have no idea how it works. If you just press the right keys, it will do the most amazing wonders for you. And that's how God set up this whole world. He gave us this little keyboard of the mitzvot, the 613 mitzvot, and you press this one, and you think you're doing this, and it's a bind, and why do I have to do it? But actually at the same time, it's actually affecting everything. This is the sweetening power of the whole universe is contained in the simple mitzvahs that we fulfill every day, our weekly Shabbos and our daily Shema, our little coin of tzedakah, our thought of chesed, every little bit. These are the od ma'at, the little bit of good that remains, and this is the real redeeming feature of everything. This is the only thing that is going to last. The Gemara says that the person has 3 friends in the world. He has his money, his possessions, his wealth. Then he has his family and dear ones. Then he has his good deeds. And when he dies, his first friend abandons him immediately. The moment he's dead, he has no need for any money, no need for his clothes, no need for all his wealth. It's all completely useless. His money has abandoned him. But his friends and his dear ones and his relations still are with him. They carry him to the cemetery. They put him into the ground. And then he too, they also leave. The second friend is